Hi everyone, it's Kino here. Welcome to this Yoga for Flexibility class. If you like this video, remember to subscribe to my channel and give me a like and a comment. When you want to practice with me in depth, head on over to my online channel, Omstars, and I'd love to see you there. Now let's get started. For this practice, come to a comfortable seated position and close the eyes. A long, deep breath in. Hands in prayer, and as you exhale, the sound Om. As you exhale, let's softly open the eyes. And first thing we're going to do is grab a blanket or any kind of towel that you might have at home. And then we're going to sit right up on the towel. So I want you to perch a little bit. And when we sit on the towel, this should pivot your pelvis a little bit forward, making the activity and activation of forward fold just a little bit easier. So let's actually pivot the pelvis forward, getting that feeling of almost an anterior tilt of the pelvis, and then separating the legs. So this is Upavishta Konasana, and in Upavishta Konasana, it can be very difficult to actually get the pelvis to pivot. So I want you to find that kind of pivot position. You'll feel the back muscles lightly engaged, then draw the navel lightly in, slowly walk the hands down, and we're going to hold it just like this for about 5 breaths. Don't worry about folding too far forward. Let's focus on tilting and pivoting inside the pelvis. You can point the feet. You might be feeling some activation in the inner thighs. You might be feeling some activation through the back, and we'll stay for another 3 more breaths. See if it's possible now to lengthen and deepen the breath. Let's do 2 more breaths. Very good, getting that pivot forward. Nice, let's do last breath. And now, if you feel comfortable, I want you to reach down onto the elbows. So we'll just come a little bit more forward. Notice that we're not aiming for straddle position here, but we're keeping the feet in sort of a relatively wide V shape, and that is Upavishta Konasana position. Let's activate the quadriceps a little bit, and again, 5 more breaths. So we have 1, 2, 3, nice, easy does it. 4, don't pull, but let the gravity begin to work on your torso, increasing the pivot point inside your pelvis. 2 more breaths. Last breath. That's good. Inhale, we'll come all the way back up. We're going to bend the knees. Let's now come off of the blanket and then explore our Upavishta Konasana position. Now, bringing the feet maybe a little closer together, holding onto the ankles, flexing the feet this time. Inhale, lift the center of the chest, and as you exhale, lightly fold. Again, finding that pivot point. And notice how it's different. When you have the blanket, the pivot point kind of happens automatically, but without the blanket, you really have to draw the navel in and send the sitting bones back to get that same pivot point. We'll hold it here for a few breaths and then slowly sink the chest down. So the idea is that the torso slides between the thighs and avoid rounding the back, and we'll hold that for a couple more breaths, drawing the navel, and eventually we'll be able to go all the way down, but don't worry about that for right now. Just feel the torso sliding between the thighs, the sitting bones moving back. Let's go 2 more breaths. 1 more breath. Very good. Inhale. We'll come all the way up. Bend the knees. Rotate the tailbone a little under. Find the counter stretch. Nice. Now, let's see if we can find a squat position, and you could pivot back up onto the blankets for a moment, separate the knees a little, and then we'll try to come up into a squat. Separate the knees and just give yourself a little rock from side to side, and we'll be working in Malasana position or the yogi squat. All right, working through the hip joints, a little side to side. If the squat is difficult for you, you're going to take 2 yoga blocks or a small stool, and you'll sit on the blocks. But if you can squat with the feet pointed out, then we can stay right here. Let's do hands in prayer. Separate the knees and feel the sitting bones moving back as the chest lifts up and forward. We'll stay for 5 breaths. So we have 1, 2, 3, we're almost there. Keep breathing. 4, and 5. Drop your right shoulder a little bit down, and then let's reach down with your chest and over to the right side, pressing the left knee back, and hold it there. We have 1, 2, 3, keep it easy. 4, almost there. 5, let's bring it back into the center, and then pivot over to the other side. Using the natural lean weight distribution, so the torso slides to the left as you push the right knee back and away. Keep a little activation in the pelvis and relax as much as you can. We have about 4 more breaths, so breathe deeply, fluidly. Good. 3 more breaths. 2 more breaths. Last breath. Very good. Inhale. Come on back into the center. Hands in prayer 1 more time. Test out the different feeling in the squat after we've tried this. That's good. Then let's sink back onto the blanket again. Draw the knees towards each other. Find a nice counter stretch. Let yourself relax. A big breath in. And a big breath out. Nice. Let's head on over to the hands and knees. We're going to move into the puppy pose. So with puppy pose, we can start off with your hands really close together. Externally rotate the shoulders and send the sitting bones back. And then slowly pivot forward, forward, forward. Exhale, start off with the head down, and we'll stay 5 breaths here. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's do 1 more. 5. Switch your gaze forward and then see if it's possible to reach your chest towards the ground, and we'll hold for another 5 breaths. 1, 2, 3. No stress, easy does it. 4, almost there. 5, pivot all the way forward. Let's find cobra pose. Take a moment, draw your thigh bones towards each other, and then elbows a little bit forward of the shoulders, and forearms parallel with each other, bases of the big toe joints pressing into each other or nearby each other, and we'll hold for 1, 2, releasing the front body. So one of the biggest impediments to back flexibility is overactivating the abdomen. So try to soften the abdomen a little bit while you're here, not pushing the belly out, just kind of keeping it softly released. We'll stay 2 more breaths. Very good. We have the last breath. And then let's let it go. Bring the hands back, curl the toes under. Inhale all the way up to downward facing dog. Let's go ahead and hold downward dog for 5 breaths. 1, 2, let everything go except your connection to your breath, your body, your mind. 3, 4. Let's go for the last breath. At the end of this exhalation, switch your gaze forward, and then inhale, slide that right knee forward. All right, we're in the pigeon pose. So take a moment in the pigeon pose to close the knee joint and really drop your hip back a little bit. Here's where we can take that blanket and put it underneath your hip, or you can take a block and put it underneath the hip. And then we can find the feeling that the pelvis is as level as possible. And once you get that feeling, then we can take a blanket or that bolster out in front of us, and then exhale. Slowly find the way down. That's good. Letting yourself be comfortable. You can find out how to best support your body, giving yourself a little moment to settle in. We'll stay here for 5 breaths. Let it be as released and as comfortable as possible. 1, deep breathing. 2, 3, 4, 1 more long, deep breath in. And exhale. Very good. All right, let's slowly find the way back up. Let's move the blanket over to the side. If you're on the bolster, you can move that over. Hands shoulder width apart. Let's curl that left toe under, the left toes under, and inhale up to downward facing dog. Switch the sides. Inhale, bring your left knee forward. Notice I'm keeping the knee joint closed. So when you think about closing the knee joint in pigeon, one of the keys that we're really working with is to both protect the knee and also to target the external rotation that more leads into, say, a half lotus position rather than a different type of external rotation. So if we want to take the bolster and put it underneath the hip, that's great. If not, then we can stay here. Try to get the weight forward and down into that opposite hip. And then we'll situate ourselves, maybe grabbing a blanket for a little extra cushion. And then exhale, slowly coming down. Relax as much as possible, and we'll stay for 5 breaths. Deep breath in, and deep breath out. Keep breathing. We'll be here for 3 more breaths. 2 more breaths. And the last breath. Very good. Okay, let's inhale. We'll come all the way up. Take a moment, removing whatever objects supported you in the posture, curling the right toes under, and then inhale up to downward facing dog. Let's explore our down dog for 5 deep breaths. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Let's switch the gaze forward and then inhale, come on forward. Return to a comfortable seated position. Let's close the eyes for a moment and just lightly settle in. Observe how the body feels after these yoga poses, after this practice. Observe the mind. Feel the heartbeat and the breath. And let's gently bring the hands together. A long, deep breath in. As you exhale, let's softly open the eyes. Thank you so much for joining me in this practice. May you be happy, may you be peaceful, may you be filled with love.